Hey everybody, it's D Dones here at Shanti, Atlanta. And let me get out of the light there so you can see. And I wanted to do a quick video before I started my outdoor work with clearing some of the saplings and stuff that I cut. I wanted to start a video real quick telling you about composting. I did a video the other day showing you how you could do a really quick do-it-yourself compost bin for about $10, and I used a 32-gallon trash can. So we're going to start back from there, and then I'm going to actually work on building the compost right here. So let me actually flip my camera around so you can see. Okay, so this is the 32-gallon trash can. Oops, let me see, can you see? This 32-gallon, and as you can see, we drilled holes the other day. And the top, that's the top, the sides, I don't know if you can see that, and then the bottom. Okay, so to start the compost, turn the camera back around, you need to layer with, you start with your browns, with your dried leaves. You can do some pine needles. I live here in the South, in Atlanta, actually in Conyers, so we got, I have a lot of pine trees on my property. So you need to start with a layer of brown. Then you do with your greens, which is, your greens could be yard clippings, as well as like any of your leftover vegetables from your salads or fruits or things like that. So let me show you what I've started here with clip. So these are some dried leaves here, and I don't know if you can see here. So I just put these, and you can see pine needles. I just started this here, and the bottom here, and that's your first layer. And so, like here at Shanti, Atlanta, here are my dried leaves. You may live in an area where you don't have dried leaves. Maybe you can go to a park and all of that, but here are the dried leaves that gets picked from here. I'm going to put a little bit more. Let me see here. I'm going to get a little bit more from here, and make sure they're dry. You start off with dry. So that's the first step. Okay, so now, and that's some pretty good layers. The next step would be, your chicken scraps. Not chicken. Your kitchen scraps. That's what I was trying to say. So make sure that you're not doing any meat, dairy, salad dressing, oils, butters, anything like that. You want to use stuff like, let's see. Let me grab over here. Got some banana peel. I eat a lot of oranges, so that's going in there. And make sure that when you are putting your scraps in there, you know how you have the stickers if you're buying it at the grocery store? Take the stickers off. It needs to be just straight scraps. Okay, so here, a lot of tomatoes, so that's a nice scrap. And you know what, this is, you don't want to do too much garlic and onions either, I just thought about that. So here's a zucchini that went bad. Actually, this needs to be probably chopped up. I like to have these things in little bits and pieces. So let me just go ahead and flip the camera around, and I'm just going to dump everything on top of my pine needles and my dried leaves, okay? Okay. So let's switch this around. Okay, so here we're back. I'm just going to dump everything over here. Can you see? And I have a little bit of onion. I'm going to take out because you don't want to have too much onion or garlic in there. That somebody was saying that too much of that is not good for getting your compost hot. And compost will typically get hot in the middle, and you'll be switching this around every 2 days. Okay, so here's apple, lemon. Ooh, let me get these. I eat a lot of onions and garlic. So you can see I'm having to pick some of that stuff out. But anyway, I have a nice little layer going on here. Let me see here. Let me just dump everything. Man, I got too many onions and stuff over here. Okay, so avocado. I eat a lot of avocados. And let's see here. What else do I have that you've not seen? You know, the rind of tomatoes and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to just stop right here so I can just talk about some more about what needs to happen here. Let me flip this back around. Okay, what happened? I don't see the button to flip this back around. Something happened to my screen here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now I see the proper button. Okay, so anyway, so spend some time layering on top of that. And make sure that like I said before, your dried leaves, they are dry. Your pine needles, anything like that, they're dry. Everything else can be moist. And then what you want to do on top of all of that, you want to put some dirt. So I live in the woods, so I have some good stuff that's like mulch, like natural, that has been broken down. I've been clearing a lot of land. So here's a good thing, a little spot for some mulch. Let me just show you. Let me flip the camera back around. So this is underneath a pile of dried leaves and stuff. So you can see this would go on top of all of your kitchen scraps and stuff. And what you do is after 2 or 3 days, you would get a pitchfork or a stick or a shovel and go in there and turn all that around. But this is really good. This is underneath this little pile of dried leaves. And so what I'll do is after I fill up with all the discarded vegetable scraps that you just saw and fruit scraps, I'll put this on top. Okay, and originally, just so you know, you can dig a hole to start your compost, but I live in an area that a lot of coyotes and stuff, and so my teacher, Charles, was saying you may not want to do that because you have to dig it pretty deep, and you don't want animals to crawl and get into your compost. So that's why I chose to do this, where I had a 32-gallon trash can that I actually can move into different parts of the garden where I'm going to set up. So I'm actually going to move the trash can over to the side of my shed, because you want your compost bin to be in the shade, and then also too for runoff, because you have the holes that I drilled holes in my trash can. You might want to get some bricks to put it up on so things can drain. So I have these things right here. They're not level, but these were like cinder blocks, remnants of cinder blocks that I have back here near my shed. Because I just recently bought the property here in Conyers. So you can set the compost bin on top of that. So that way, as things run off, it runs off into the ground, because you do have to have good air circulation. And the reason why, let me explain to you the reason why you go in layers between brown and your greens, or your kitchen scraps, is because you need to have a proper ratio of carbon as well as nitrogen. That is actually what makes the compost. And also, you don't even necessarily have to garden with the compost. This is great to do just to keep out of the landfill. And maybe you just want to even do some planter boxes in your windows or anything like that. You can use it for that. It's just kind of good to get your food out of the scraps out of the landfill, as well as gardening, or doing something with it besides throwing it out, building up in a landfill. So anyway, I will post pictures in another video as this grows, because every 2 or 3 days you will turn your compost, and especially as you add more of your kitchen scraps, then you need to add another layer of the brown, the dried leaves, the pine needles, things like that, and then add a little layer of dirt just to keep the carbon nitrogen effect going there to actually make the compost. And it takes about, I would say, 3 to about 8 or 9 months to make good compost. So let me give you another shot of what it looks like before I leave, okay? Okay, so you see I started spreading banana peels and lemon and orange. See, I eat so much garlic. I don't want to have the garlic and the onion peels in there, because somebody was telling me that too much of that's not good. It robs the oxygen level or something, somebody was telling me. So that's it for starting the compost. And even if you don't live in an area like me, I mean, I have pockets of places with brown dirt and things that are decaying. Go to a park and see, what you can get. But where I live, and of course it's a little bit of disarray, but because I've been clearing with the bobcat, but you can see I've found all sorts of areas where things are breaking down, trees that have fallen over, and I have lots of dried leaves for me to use for compost. And anyway, so that is how to start a compost pile or compost bin. Like I said, I would have loved to dig a hole, but digging a hole was not going to be good, because I live where coyotes are, as well as copperhead snakes, and I need to be careful about that. A question somebody asked me is, will the compost stink? No, it will not stink. You don't want to do this inside, though. As long as you don't have meat, dairy, butter, oils, anything like that, your compost is fine. And as long as you have proper ventilation for the oxygen airflow, everything's fine. In about 3 or 4 months, you will see that worms will be in your compost, which is a good sign, because compost, is what is really is trying to be soil that you walk upon, soil in your yard or at a park that has taken many thousands of years to form. And so a soil is happy and healthy when you see worms in the soil. So it's really important, especially for growing food that has a lot of nutrients in there, that soil is properly balanced with decayed leaves, dead insects, things like that. And so when you're making compost, you're trying to mimic soil. But real soil takes many thousands of years of breaking down of dead animals and insects and leaves and trees and all sorts of things. And that's what makes the food that you eat that grows from the soil healthy, and it keeps you healthy. So anyway, that is Composting 101 here at Shanti Atlanta. I'm Dee Dones, and I look forward to talking to you the next time. Okay, so you all have a wonderful and blessed day. I will do another Facebook Live video. I'm going to be talking about climate change and specific things that are happening with the environment and some things that we can do to help combat that, okay? So I look forward to doing these Facebook Live videos that I will put on YouTube, so people can have this information, and I will talk to you the next time.